India doesn't care how many people in Ukraine are being killed by Russian war machine. That wasn't a casual remark, it was a warning delivered by President Donald Trump himself. Now, that very warning has materialized into policy. In a dramatic move, the US has imposed 50% tariffs on Indian imports, a sharp escalation aimed at punishing New Delhi for continuing oil trade with Russia. These duties come on top of a previous 25% tariff increase, all set to take effect on August 27, 2025. The reason? India's decision to keep buying discounted Russian oil, something Washington claims is directly funding Russia's war on Ukraine. This isn't just an economic decision, it's a diplomatic rupture, signaling that even close allies will now face economic consequences if they don't align with US foreign policy goals. White House officials argue that India's oil imports are undermining global sanctions on Moscow and helping Russia survive financially. President Trump made his position crystal clear, suggesting this was just the beginning. He hinted at wider secondary sanctions on other nations if they too continue trading with Russia. India, in turn, has pushed back hard. The Ministry of External Affairs in New Delhi called the US decision unfair, unjustified, and unreasonable. Officials insist that their purchases are based on energy security needs, not ideology, and remind the world that other countries are also buying Russian oil. In fact, during the early phase of war, even American diplomats reportedly encouraged India to help stabilize energy markets by continuing that trade. But Washington's patience has run out. Today, Russia is India's largest oil supplier, making up to 35% of its total crude imports. According to global shipping data from Kepler, India has been importing up to 1.75 million barrels per day in 2025. These purchases have helped India contain inflation and protect its citizens from global fuel price shocks. But now, that same economic buffer is causing friction with its biggest trade partner. The new tariffs will hit India where it hurts, in exports. Sectors like textiles, gems and jewelry, seafood and auto parts, all major sources of employment, will see immediate impact. These industries make up a significant portion of India's trade with the US, and with tariffs raised to 50%, Indian products will become far more expensive and less competitive in American markets. Interestingly, some critical sectors like electronics and pharmaceuticals have been spared for now, including iPhones and generic medicines. But White House insiders warn that these exemptions may not last very long. Trade experts in India are sounding the alarm. The Federation of Indian Export Organizations called the move extremely shocking, warning that over half of India's exports to the US could be affected. A Delhi-based think tank, GTRI, estimates that exports might drop up to 50% as a result. Ajay Srivastava, former trade official and head of GTRI, has urged India not to retaliate, at least not yet. His advice: let tensions cool and focus on diplomacy, not escalation. The fallout goes beyond trade. Just a few years ago, Trump and Modi were celebrating a public bromance, hosting massive rallies, shaking hands, calling each other friends. That relationship has now taken a backseat to hard-nosed economics. Analysts say this marks a return to a transactional US foreign policy, where friendship doesn't mean exemption, and allies must toe the line or face penalties. India isn't the only country watching nervously. The White House has already indicated that other buyers of Russian oil, including Turkey and China, could be next. Secondary sanctions, asset freezes, and tariffs are all on the table. The Trump administration has used similar tactics before, notably with Venezuela, and now seems ready to extend the strategy globally. Caught in the middle, India faces an impossible choice. On one side, it needs affordable energy to drive growth and keep prices stable for over 1 billion citizens. On the other, it's now facing economic punishment from its largest trade partner, the US. For India, the cost of independence in foreign policy is getting steeper by the day. And for the rest of the global south, this may be the death of strategic neutrality in an increasingly polarized world, where the battlefield is no longer just in Ukraine. It's also at the shipping dock, the oil terminal, and inside every tariff line.